Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the GraveTalk podcast. This week, we brought in two special guests, John of the GraveTalk podcast and Alex of the basement of the GraveTalk podcast, where she is chained up and fed thoroughly. Scraps of steak, pizza crust, and general miscellanea.
Human jerky.
Human jerky. Anyway, welcome to the GraveTalk podcast. I'm Garrett, being weird as usual. Mark is out because he had some mouth problems. Let's not get into it right now, but we hope a quick, speedy recovery for our mans. He should be back here next episode. In the meantime, as I mentioned, we have Alex here. Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back.
John, how you doing?
Doing wonderful.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm really just trying to up it up. New year, new me.
Ooh, yeah, snap. You know what? It is 2022. This is our first episode of the new year. Ringing it in right without Mark. Suck it, Mark. Today we are going to be talking about, we don't really have a cold open, nothing catchy or anything like that.
Here's our cold open. Remember last time Mark wasn't here and what a mess the podcast was? So listeners, buckle up.
Oh, snap. Was it a mess? I thought it was pretty good.
I mean, it was fun to record. It probably wasn't fun for Mark to edit.
Oh, yeah. But who cares? It's Mark.
That's his problem.
Yeah. Today we did a movie that I'm going to probably say wrong the entire time. We did Motel Hell, the 1980 classic.
Now, which one of the words is going to trip you up, motel or hell?
Okay, so my first note is, where the fuck is this movie? I have looked for 25 minutes in my iTunes library. I cannot find Hotel Hell.
I did the same thing, even though I have seen this movie before, and I know it's Motel Hell, but I had the song stuck in my head. Kept looking under hotel.
Yes, I kept looking for Hotel Hell, and I was like, I know I bought it. Don't make me buy this again a second time, iTunes. But it was Motel Hell, and I realized, and I was like, I bet I'm an idiot. And sure enough, pure idiot. So, we're doing Motel Hell. This one, as I pull it up on IMDb, I probably should have had this ready to go.
Well, it came out in 1980. It had a budget of $72.
Directed by Kevin Connor, I think.
Yes, it was Kevin Connor. What has Kevin Connor done? He's done some other stuff.
I think he was Hercules in the 90s.
He did The Land That Time Forgot, and that's about it. Well, a lot of made-for-TV romance movies, a lot of Lifetime movies.
I was picking up a Lifetime vibe throughout this whole film, so
through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's actually got a pretty extensive career here. Wow.
Once you get that Lifetime money, why get off the gravy train?
That's a great
It's a
point.
lifetime of gravy.
Oh.
Welcome back to the Gravy Talk. We're switching it up now that Mark's gone. Yes, it was directed by Kevin Connor, as you said, Alex. It stars
Rory Calhoun.
Plays Vincent Smith. Paul Linke plays Bruce Smith. Nancy Parson plays Ida Smith. If you swipe right with two fingers on IMDb, it takes you to another page. Okay, coming back. Nina Axelrod as Terry. Wolfman Jack is Reverend Billy. I don't know if you guys caught that or not, but Wolfman Jack was heavily seen in this movie.
Yeah. That was interesting and weird, but enjoyable.
Yep. And then a bunch of other bit people that you probably know from other things at the time. Dick Curtis, Elaine Joyce. They all play random guests. And
John Ratzenberger.
Okay, I wrote down John Ratzenberger of Pixar fame, as you guys may know him.
And Cheers.
Cliff. Yeah, he plays Cliff.
I don't think I've ever seen an episode of Cheers.
Oh, it's a
What?
joy. It's a very fun show.
I think I would enjoy it. I just never have.
Honestly, it's one of the few 80s TV shows that I can say you would probably enjoy.
It's like lowbrow Frasier.
Oh, that's exactly what I want in my life.
Oh, see, I need highbrow Frasier always.
That's just Frasier.
I know. I'm really interested to find out if that remake is going to be good. The one where he's in San Francisco or something like that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're doing a new Frasier series.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, dropping that fresh news. Speaking of fresh news, before we jump into this, did you guys watch anything cool? Anything wild that you got to just get off your chest?
I did. I watched a movie on Shudder. I forgot what it's called. Hold on. Sad song, dark sad, some combination
Alex,
of those.
fill the dead air. What did you watch?
The last 4 episodes of the most recent season of Cobra Kai.
Sweet. While John's looking that up,
I watched.
Oh.
Yes, I watched a movie on Shudder called A Dark Song, and it was really, really good. It's about this girl or woman. She's a woman who is trying to use this occult ritual to get in touch with her dead child and what happens when she tries. And it is, I was like, oh, it's a Shudder movie, so it'll probably be bad. So I was like, I'll put it on in the background.
I'm sure everything goes smoothly for everybody.
Yeah.
She gets the closure she's looking for, and yeah.
You nailed it. So you don't even have to watch it. But no, I was like, I'll just put this on in the background, and it totally stole my attention. It was a really good. It's a slow burn, though. Don't expect a lot of rapid things to happen, but it never feels too long. So
See, I used to think that about Shudder too, like, oh, this is a Shudder film. Okay, brace yourself. But then Anything for Jackson came out, and it kind of changed my entire perception of what Shudder does. And then they did that Fried Berry.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, they've been cranking out like some pretty good stuff in the mix.
I think it's just like the law of averages. They put out so
True,
many movies.
It's a numbers game.
Yeah.
But that's like Netflix and Hulu. They just buy up so much stuff
Yeah.
and just throw it on there. You know, you never know.
So this is a good Shudder film.
And that's called
A Dark Song.
A Dark Song. Oh, right on. I didn't watch anything super new. I did finally watch Dr. Sleep. That movie hit different for me. That shit's infected my brain. Like, I cannot get it out of my head. I really, really like Dr. Sleep. I'm kind of upset at myself for not watching it sooner than this.
Now you got to watch the director's cut.
No, I did.
Okay.
I totally watched the extended with the extra scene with
Yeah.
Baseball Boy. Woo!
Good stuff.
Get the fuck out of here with that mess. That is, that was really good. If you guys haven't seen Dr. Sleep, definitely recommend it. Would you recommend Dark Song?
Yeah, oh yeah, big time. Especially
Okay.
if you have Shudder, it's free, so watch it.
And Alex, the last 4 episodes of Cobra Kai?
Oh yeah, that was great.
Not the first episodes, just the last 4.
Those are the only 4 episodes of Cobra Kai I've ever seen, and they were good.
Cool. Well, there you go.
So you don't even have to watch like the first season and a half. Just start at the last 4.
The first 3 seasons.
First 3 seasons. There you go. And a total off the wall recommendation. If you like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which you should because it's an amazing show, the 3 male leads have a podcast, the Always Sunny podcast, where they watch each episode and talk about it. Fucking hilarious.
Oh, like The
highly
Office?
recommend it. Yeah, I guess probably like the
Yeah.
Office one. Super, super good. So I've been binging that.
Why is Homegirl not doing it?
I don't know. I think because she doesn't. They're like the 3 male leads are the creators, the writers, the producers.
okay.
Like, so I think they approach it from that standpoint.
I didn't know if there was like beef or something like that going down or anything like that. So,
Well, not that they mentioned, but probably not
well, I know
something
she's
they
got a
would
kid,
put.
right? So maybe she's like just doing the mom thing or something like
Maybe.
that, or
They never
maybe she's
address
working on a
it.
project.
So
I know they all like do a lot of producing and directing and stuff in their spare time. So that's cool. I'm glad they're getting work outside of Sunny.
yeah, it is interesting to see how different they are from their. I mean, obviously nobody is like people from Sunny, but sometimes they're so different.
That makes me feel so comforted knowing there is not real Dennises out there everywhere.
No.
One should hope not. Charlie is fine, but I think there's a lot of Charlies running around, but
yeah, and they all vote.
We can deal with some Charlies.
I'm a Charlie and I vote.
So anyway, back to Motel Hell, the 1980 movie. I would call this a horror comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took me a while to realize it, but I was like, this has to be a comedy.
Did you actually know the budget, or were you just like
No,
making
the
a
budget
joke
was
earlier?
definitely not $72.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see the budget. Oh, the budget was $3 million estimated. Opening weekend, $1,924,000. Gross, $6 million. So back in 1980, that's not bad.
No?
The worldwide gross, I don't think it had a worldwide. It only released in the U.S. because it's the same exact number. So
$3 million in 1980 money. That's
yeah,
pretty substantial.
that is pretty substantial. I mean, there's a lot of like farm equipment. That shit's not cheap.
Yeah, you think they bought that?
I feel like they bought that and the pigs.
Okay, yeah, well, they definitely bought the pigs.
Listen, Rory Calhoun in 1980 didn't come cheap.
$2 million was that salary.
And every time he popped up on screen, all I could think of was that Simpsons reference. What was it? When they steal the dogs, the 101 Dalmatians spoof.
Who does he remind me of? The guy who's known for standing and walking. Rory Calhoun.
Yeah. Oh man, it just kept popping in my head every time.
Me too.
Let's get into the plot, I guess. This one opens up with an old man standing in front of his motel. God, I keep wanting to say motel, and just load a shotgun.
Yeah, as one does in front of a motel.
And I kept hearing people talk in the background, so I couldn't tell if that was guests or if he was like going to go kill guests or what. So it was like really weird. I was like, I do not know. I thought I missed something. I thought I started the movie a little bit too late. But no, he does that, and then he ends up going out night hunting, I guess, which is par for the course in this area. Where do you think this takes place?
Anywhere USA.
Are we thinking the South? We taking the?
No, I didn't have a real strong Southern accent. I'm thinking some like rural Midwest.
Or maybe like Eastern Oregon.
Oh, okay, yeah. I
Yeah.
can see that. Or Maine, but no, it wasn't cold. I assume it's just always cold in Maine. There's no summer, so.
Well, it's funny you ask. Alex, give us the main report.
I was there one time in October. It was brisk, but not freezing.
Well, that totally just changed my mind about Maine.
The piano score was really cool. There's this really like creepy kind of cool like piano score going on as he's out there getting ready to night hunt. I thought that was really good. I do think that the soundtrack really help this movie because there are some as I don't know if you mentioned it yet, but there's some real lulls in the plot itself. But the soundtrack and the lighting really kind of like keep you like ooh kind of on edge.
That is accurate. There are some lulls.
So we basically get our main character Vincent. And he passes a sign that says Vincent's Meats. Out of nowhere, around the corner comes zipping around a dude on his motorcycle with his girl on the back. And
Bo and Terry.
And
With interchangeable unisex names. I'll let you guess which one's which.
Yeah. I had a very hard time keeping everyone's name straight in this movie, except for Vinny.
Oh, Vinny? Are we calling him Vinny?
Well, when you're close.
Are we that close to? Okay, all right.
I'm close to Vincent, Vinny, the meat man.
Yeah, this guy looked like a knockoff H. John Benjamin driving the motorcycle. And I was like, okay. And then you hear a pop, and then the bike kind of goes a little bit wobbly, and then you hear a gunshot, which I didn't know was a gunshot, except they had subtitles on and it said gunshot. And I was like, oh.
Is that how they died?
That's how she got shot off the back or something.
Because my first note of this whole movie was that is the slowest motorcycle car crash ever, and I didn't understand how anyone was injured.
Well, Terry doesn't die.
No.
Because she's hanging out for the rest of the movie, and Bo doesn't die either.
Which I thought was weird because it said gunshot right after it showed the tire popping and
he
wobbling.
shoots the tire.
It might have just been a foolish closed captioner and it was just a blowout. Because didn't they run over like road spikes or something?
Yeah, and that's what I
Yeah.
thought. I thought they hit a thing, but it specifically says gunshot, and that's when they crash. I think you might be right, John. I think they hit a trap, and then he shot out their tire.
That must be it.
Because
Because
there was a sidecar also. You can keep some balance with the blowout.
Yeah. And also, I mean, he's not going to want to pick all that buckshot out of somebody.
Also, question for our resident female here. If there's a sidecar on a motorcycle, are you sitting behind the dude or are you sitting in the sidecar?
I would not get on a motorcycle with a sidecar because they're much more unstable than a two-wheeled vehicle.
Really? They're less stable?
Yeah.
Wow.
But 3 wheels is more wheels. You should
Yeah.
be more stable. I guess your weight distribution goes to one
There's
side.
a reason that three-wheeled ATVs aren't a thing anymore because they're super dangerous.
Okay.
All right.
I've always wanted to ride in a sidecar with goggles and like a scarf.
Ladies and gentlemen, our GraveTalk Patreon will be up soon. Help us afford a GraveTalk motorcycle. We'll put a sidecar on it. We'll put John in the side seat with a little cat.
Oh.
They'll both have little goggles and scarves on. We'll show up to all the horror conventions.
It's a dream. I mean, well, it was a dream. Now I find out they're apparently deathmobiles. So it's a little less. It's like 80% of a dream instead of 100%.
Look, John's got to die first, man.
That's true. That is true.
My dad is a former motorcycle mechanic, so I have a lot of unearned, strong motorcycle opinions.
Fair enough. Well, I have none, so I'm just going to adopt yours. So sidecars, go fuck themselves.
So Terry and Bo crash, and they go flying off this one little like edge. It's not like super tall, but it's enough to make things flip over.
None of the $3 million went to this stunt. Fly off is a very strong explanation.
It gently rolls
Yeah.
into the ditch.
It kind of hits a tree.
It gradually made its way off the road.
Yeah.
And Bo is down on the ground, and he looks dead. I thought he was dead.
I also thought he died.
And then you see Terry over there laying on the ground, just kind of moaning, kind of like, I've been crashed, as one says when they crash.
Yeah.
And
Honestly, if I had a head injury, I would say something like that. Oh, I've been crashed.
Thinking that Terry had a head injury makes her actions throughout this film make 10 times more sense.
Yeah.
No,
I-
I'm going to disagree. Even with a head injury, this is far-fetched what she does.
Listen, if she's like going through some kind of drug withdrawal and has a head injury,
Okay.
okay, that's what I'm working with
Yeah.
now.
New
Okay.
headcanon, heroin addict, also hugely concussed, like major.
Massively.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get to why we think that Terry has a lot of problems. So he loads them up in the back of the truck, and I thought he also loaded the motorcycle, but he didn't. He drives them back to their motel, which is way off the beaten path, which is kind of a shitty place to have a motel. You kind of want to be on a major thoroughfare.
Yeah, because the mo comes from motor, as in people should be able to drive right by it.
Does
Well,
it really?
Yeah.
What does the tell come from?
Hotel.
Okay. It's a motor hotel.
Yeah.
Are you
It's a
serious?
portmanteau.
Yeah.
Oh.
They were with the interstate and everything. Well, probably with cars.
Holy shit, I feel dumb. I feel as dumb as I did when I found out that those 3 actors from the beginning of Wizard of Oz who work on the farm are the same people from the fucking
Oz,
yeah. Which I just found out on Christmas, ladies and gentlemen.
But at the end of the movie, she goes, "You were there, and you were there too."
But she was concussed and kicking heroin. I didn't know what was going on.
Listen, back then it was opium.
I was half asleep on the couch, and I was like, "Hold up, you guys! I think those 3 people are the same people that play the Lion and the Tin Man." And everyone in the room just looks at me like, "You fucking moron!" I was like, "I think I'm right." So anyway, it's a real one of those.
And we
moments.
were like, "You are 90 years behind times with this one, my friend."
Like, there's no place like home. Okay. So anyway, he brings them back to the motel.
Well, okay, it probably was a very prime location. Then I-10 came, took all the traffic off of whatever shitty road he was
Roger
on.
Rabbit situation.
Yeah, exactly. He got fucked by the interstate.
Okay.
Until he had to turn to jerky.
All right. Unless I thought it might be like a real Rango thing where they're going to build a highway to Vegas.
Oh, you think he was like ahead of his time?
Oh, wait, what's that movie where, Once Upon a Time in the West, where that guy builds the farm?
Yeah. Vincent has never been ahead of his time, ever.
No.
He's been ahead of his time. Hey-oh, foreshadowing for a shitty part of the movie.
You guys, I'm leaving.
If that's that's the best part of the movie.
No, it's pretty cool. So let me get these people to the motel, okay? So he gets Bo and Terry to the motel. He brings Terry inside where we meet Ida, his sister, which I thought was his wife at first.
Also thought it was his wife.
And she's just cooking up a storm. She's just making a shit ton of food in the kitchen. 4-slot toaster, by the way, they're using. So kudos to them.
High speed in 1980.
You gotta respect the 4-slot toaster.
This lady is like straight out of a John Waters movie, like an early John Waters movie.
Yeah.
She is the neighbor from Pink Flamingos or something like that. Like, she's weird.
She's a delight, though. She's just really in a positive, good mood most of the time.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Except when she tries to kill Terry, which we'll get to.
Yeah, I have some questions about that. So
he brings Terry and he's like, "Hey, I want this one to live." And she's like, "Why?" And he's like, "The good Lord spared her. We're going to keep death away from her." And she's like, "Okay, sounds good to me." And then she's like, "Go get me some special ingredients," and they're going to like heal Terry.
We meet the tourists buying meats. And they're like, "This is the best jerky in the tri-state area." I tell all my friends about your
It's
jerky.
the next morning at this point.
It is the next morning.
And they're checking out. And they've got twins. And I have a note here that says, people with twins, do not dress your twins up as a matching pair or else we will automatically assume they're evil. Period.
People only dress your twins up as a matching pair because I want to assume they're evil.
Yeah, that's factual. And they also had the most annoying toy guns I've ever heard.
Oh, yeah. What was the deal with that?
This is the 80s, man.
Yeah, toys in the 80s were way more annoying than they are now.
You know what? That's a podcast right there. I think we need to deep dive this.
Because I think I think people grew up and were like, yeah, why do we make children's toys make the most obnoxious sound on earth? They have no self-control. So
do you think it's like vindictive, like single people without kids who are like, oh, fuck them all. I'm going to make their lives miserable like they've made my life miserable.
As I learned from Child's Play, all toy company CEOs are miserable old men. So yeah.
I think we also learned that in Big.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
My God, breaking this wide open.
Yeah, we've cracked the code for sure.
Just in. The GraveTalk podcast investigates. Wait, I tried to make it sound cool and I just kind of stuttered
It's
to
all
it.
right. If I had that toy as a child, it would have definitely disappeared. I would have lost
How
it.
many toys did we lose to the disappeared toy pile?
Yeah, I don't know what'd you do with it. Well, you threw it in the garbage, so.
God, I hope there's a box, and then when we find it, when our parents go to the home, we could walk into the home and be like, remember these? And they're just like, oh, God.
Hey, Old Man River, zip it or I'll break your hip.
So in a movie full of very wild things to come, this scene has the wildest thing to me, which is putting a bumper sticker on the front of someone else's car.
That was one of my notes. I said, I would be so mad if someone put a bumper sticker anywhere on my car, let alone the front.
And he puts it on hella janky. It's super crooked.
Yeah.
That's
Air
your
bubbles.
biggest problem with it.
He's like a souvenir for the road. I was like, get that shit away from my car.
Someone get Rory Calhoun a level because that dude must have major astigmatism if he thinks that's straight.
He just bends over and just slaps it on this bad boy. Can hold 3. You know,
Could fit so much jerky in this bad boy.
But Stu and them love the meat so much because this is where he's all like, "Oh yeah, take my sampler pack home for $2.95." They've got to be losing profit on that.
Oh, that's such cheap jerky. Jerky's expensive.
It wasn't even jerky. I don't think. I think it
there's
was just
smoked sausages.
Okay.
That's still pretty cheap. $3.
It's like a Slim Jim.
Yeah,
That's amazing. I'd love to find a $3 meat. Hold on, I just almost said something that was going to come out really wrong.
A $3 meat tube.
I was going to say I'd love to find a $3 meat package on the side of the road. But let's go ahead and pull that back.
That's how I met you.
you can snap into a Slim Jim for less than $3 still.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
true. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I think that's why he was okay with it because he was like so enamored with the meat. He was like, yeah, put a fucking bumper sticker in the wrong place.
Look, I don't care how good your meat is. Do not put a bumper sticker on my car.
I mean, my car is getting to the point of being an ancient piece of crap, and I still don't want anyone slapping random stickers on it.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing after the podcast. So the twins decide to run off on their own and explore this motel barn farm thing.
Yeah.
And they go
/ abattoir.
Yes.
Which I have the most questions about the whole movie from this just 5-minute scene. Starting with the bumper sticker, and then one twin dares the other twin to go into this creepy ass place, and the other twin dares go first. I don't think that's the rule.
I've never heard that before.
What's the point of a dare then? You just she just made that up.
That's some twin nonsense.
Yeah, well, one of the twins is obviously smarter than the other because she was like, "Oh yeah, I guess dares do go first." In I go. So
yeah, and they go inside this barn, which is basically where they process the meat.
Yeah,
and they're looking around, and then out of this opening door, just basically pigs that are on hooks come flinging at them, and they scream and run off like they just witnessed the second coming. They're just freaking out.
God, could you imagine staying in a motel next to a slaughterhouse, even a mini slaughterhouse?
it would smell.
Jesus Christ!
The pigs were like what, 5 feet away from the front door?
yeah. Also, why? I mean, doesn't really matter, but why did that happen to those children? There's no one in there, and
No, Ida was.
Oh, Ida was in there?
Because remember,
Okay, I missed it.
the pigs
Didn't
fly
she put
out.
on the pig head and
She
scare
puts
them?
the pig head and jumps up and goes,
yeah, I watched that scene twice, and I somehow missed that.
oh, wow. Yeah,
I even rewound it. I was like, why are they screaming?
Well, you know, they needed to insert that for foreshadowing.
Yeah, Ida scares them as kind of like just a, hey, you got to have fun with a slaughterhouse, terrorize some children.
And then comes my favorite part of the whole movie. Vincent shows how great with children he is. So they're running, screaming, and they run in the car. They close the door. They're screaming. He's like, I'll calm them down. And he just screams at them.
He does like a Monsters
he's like,
Inc. scare type thing. Yeah.
And then they shut up. So it did work.
yeah,
I was like,
he scared them straight.
yeah, I was like, that is some
Whoa.
old school parenting right there. That's the kind of shit you can't get away with in 2020. You can't scream at children anymore.
Slaps another bumper sticker on the front. It's like, hey, you can call this place for therapy.
Yeah.
So yeah, they drive off. So Stu and his family Stu, I don't know.
Did they have names? I don't know. I
I
missed
think they
that.
had names, but
I just called them tourists, so I have no idea.
cool. We'll call them tourists. They drive off, and at this point, out of nowhere, screaming up the driveway, sliding into first with his car, here comes the sheriff,
Bruce.
Bruce, which they introduce real quick, like, oh, it's his brother. It's Vincent's brother is Bruce. And I would gather younger brother, right?
I would say so by about 25 years.
The age difference was so huge. They're like, oh, that's my brother. I was like, nope. I
Yeah,
was like, not buying it.
At first, I was like, oh, that must be his son. But no.
See, I thought it was like the local sheriff who was going to basically unwrap the mystery of the meat. And
They're kind of close.
Listen, I love unwrapping meat mysteries, but alas.
jinkies. That one got John. John, I appreciate you laughing at my dumb joke.
No problem. That's what I'm here for.
So the sheriff comes up, and at this point, he's like, hey, guys, how's it going? I saw some tourists drive off. And then he sees Terry walk out of the room, and Terry is in a daze. Terry is in a
Well, before
nightgown.
this, the weirdest scene happens where he walks into the house and Ida jumps on him.
Oh, yeah, just like tackles the shit out of
And
him.
so I was like, oh, okay, so the sheriff's out of the picture right now, but it turns out this is just like a tickle fight. It's just something that they do. So that was weird.
Oh, yeah. Ida like attacks the sheriff, but
Yeah.
kind of like a fun
I
roughhouse
mean,
kind
do you
of way.
guys not have tickle fights with your adult siblings?
Who's like 30 years younger than you?
So Ida does that, and then he's like, "Get off me, Ida!" And she's like, "Oh, I'm just having fun. I'm just joshing with you."
And then I wrote, "Oh, so the sheriff's going to be extra useless in this movie."
At this point, you definitely get a vibe that the sheriff is not going to be a formidable opponent.
No, it was like a scary movie sheriff, you know?
Deputy Dewey from the movie Scream.
Yeah, he's definitely more a Dewey and less of a No Country for Old Men.
Yeah. If that's the spectrum, he is far on the Dewey side.
Is that our sheriff litmus test right there? All right, I'm in. So at this point, Terry walks out and he's like, "Who's this?" And Bruce is just DTF for anything that moves in this movie.
Well, how many? I mean, there's can't be that many women around his age in this community of, I don't know, 12. So,
Ida.
I think, how many non-tourists do we meet?
Wait a minute.
Well,
Ida's his
Ida's his sister. So that's
Yeah.
Bruce's sister also.
Yeah, they're also
Oh, I just put that together.
Yeah, it's a family situation.
This is a real Sawyer type situation. This is a real Texas Chainsaw
That's
Massacre
my
type
second
thing.
note. Get a real Sawyer vibe
These
here.
families will get along perfect. We should just hook these families up with each other.
That would mitigate the inbreeding just a little bit.
Just a touch, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't meet that many So we meet Terry, we meet Bob, poor Bob.
Yeah, Bob gets it rough. We meet the preacher later
Yeah.
on.
And then
Wolfman
we
Jack.
see in cars, there's a lot of people stealing movies from the drive-in.
No, they were fucking. That was like Lover's Lane, bro.
Okay.
We'll get to that. Let's
There's
get
the
through
people in
yeah.
those cars. So let's see, there's two.
You're right.
each.
There's not a lot
It's
of
still
people in this
intellectual
town.
property theft.
Yeah.
So Bruce is like, who's this? And they're like, oh, that's, Terry. She's going to be staying with us. She was in a motorcycle accident. And she's like, where's Bo? And he's like, yeah, so here's the thing. Bo died last night. I had to bury him. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
And he's like, I buried him this morning. And they're like, why so quick? I didn't give you permission for this. And he's like, had to do it. There was pieces of him everywhere.
And the sheriff is like, in this county, under extenuated circumstances, it's fine.
I was like, that definitely sounds like a made-up law. There is no law that says you could kill somebody and then bury them and just go about your
I
day.
want to know the details of these extenuating circumstances.
But this also seemed like the most regular circumstances possible, a car crash.
Well, that's
Yeah.
why I thought Bruce was in on it at first, because I thought he was making up laws to cover for his brother's bullshit.
Spoiler, he's just a moron.
No, Bruce is just a fucking rube.
They're like, well, we're gonna take her back to bed and she's gonna be fine. And Bruce at this point's like, all right, let's get to talking. Bruce gets run off. I don't remember what happens, but Bruce leaves.
He's just like, well, my work's here is done. I've accomplished nothing. I see that there's a hostage and a dead person, so off I go.
Oh, they go to the cemetery because she's like, I want to see the body. And he's like, you can go to the cemetery, but... And then she just kneels down, starts breaking down, crying like, oh, Bo. And I was like, yo.
Oh, Bo.
But don't worry, because this is the only grief she's going to show immediate closure.
Yeah,
She's
well,
like,
Bruce is like, what are you going to do? And he's like, well, she's going to stay here and rest for a little while. And I was like, no, she's not. She's going to leave, dude.
yeah. Do you have any friends or family?
I was dead wrong because at this point Terry is all in on just staying here forever, because the next scene we get is them trying to comfort her at the hotel, and they're like, you should just stay here. She's like, I'm happy to. That sounds great. I just can't go home. And I'm like, yeah, you can. You
why?
can totally just go home.
In fact, you probably should. You should probably recover from your head injury and supposed drug withdrawal there.
Tell Bo's parents that maybe their son's dead.
I don't think Bo is talking to his parents.
Collect on his life insurance.
Yeah.
This is H. John Benjamin, a sleazy writer. This guy, and also I was like, oh, her boyfriend. And later on, we see him when he comes back in the movie. He is also like 48 years old.
Well,
I was like, dude, she's got a thing for
learned.
older men.
She's got a type.
Yeah, I'll talk about it later.
I also like that Bo's headstone was like a pet's headstone. It was just like
Like a pet cemetery type thing?
It's like painted on a 2x4. Like, here lies Bo, sad face.
I don't even know what had his name.
Right, I know, probably not.
RSVP Bo.
So at this point, Terry's going to go back to sleep now because she's decided to stay indefinitely, I guess.
And you know what
then-
they say, if you have a concussion, you should just sleep
As much as possible.
as much as possible.
And up rolls our man Bob, who I guess was like a health inspector.
I don't know what Bob's job is because he doesn't do much. So he
Was
comes.
inspecting the pigs.
Yeah, he comes in a county car, and Vinny's like, "Oh, I thought you were gonna come next month." He's like, "This is what we call a surprise inspection." Oh, all right. We in the biz use that term.
From the State Board of Pig Examiners.
Yeah. So he's like, okay. So Vincent goes to slaughter some humans, and Bob starts just looking around the pig pen, and he hears like a weird sound, and he stares it down, and he's like, well, I'm going to come back in the middle of the night and investigate that for no reason.
Yeah, he says one of those hooves might be infected. You need to, I think Bob kind of had it out for Vincent.
Maybe.
I don't know if he suspected other stuff, but like he definitely like was not. There was a little bit of hostility between these two.
But then Vincent scares him and he falls in a mud puddle. Very shameful.
Womp womp womp.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, Vincent did have a lot of blood on him, but also the guy's a health inspector. Like, he's probably been to slaughterhouses before.
Yeah, because Vincent goes into the slaughterhouse and is working on something, and at that point, Bob's like, "Oh, I wonder what's going on in there," and kind of creeps over there, and then Vincent pops out and scares him into that puddle. Which there's a lot of like pratfalls in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people falling in mud puddles, and by a lot I mean 2 that I remember, but that's a lot.
That's more than
For the 80s, that
movies.
was a fair bit.
He must be an agricultural inspector, not a health inspector. Because wouldn't a health inspector want to inspect where the meat's being cut up?
I think he was just for the animals.
Yeah.
I think he's just a busybody.
Dr. Bob, animal doctor.
He doesn't inspect anything. Bob, just a front desk person. He just likes to drive around and look at farms.
He just loves meddling.
All the
Yeah.
government jobs in this town are run by like people who are not capable of doing the job well, as seen by the sheriff, as seen by our animal inspector.
This is probably one of those counties where all public people get elected, and so it's just like you don't have to be qualified in
He's got
any
spare
way.
time.
Yeah, and also Bob's probably Vincent's brother too, if this movie's plot holds. Everyone's pretty much related to one another.
Basically.
So Bob drives off all muddy, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm embarrassed.
I'm
And
gonna
then
get you.
And at this point, we cut to Terry in the bed, and then at this point, Vincent and Ida are there, and they're like, "Well, we're glad you decided to stay." And she's like, "But maybe I should go." And he's like, "Look, you're here for a reason. It was ordained. It's destiny." And she goes, "That makes sense. I wrote the quote down. You're sitting here with us is preordained." And she goes, "Yeah, I guess you're right." And I was like, "For fuck's sake, no, that's not right. Like, you are not obligated to stay in a place just because you crashed."
No, that's the concussion speaking, though.
There is a lot of wildly disjointed dialogue in this movie where if I weren't paying attention, it would probably just roll right by me. But since I was trying to pay attention for podcasting preparation purposes, it, like some of those lines, I'm like did two people like write this and just mash it together?
It's
Like
a bad lib.
what? Yeah, like one of those games where it's like someone writes a line, you can only see the last word of it, and you have to continue writing it.
Oh, that's definitely how they wrote this script. I think you nailed it.
So Terry's decided to stay because she decided this is where she needs to be because evidently it's preordained because an old man told her this. And
Also, though, admittedly, I was not alive in 1980. Maybe that's just how shit happened back
No.
then. I don't know.
I was born in 1980, and as a less than 1 year old, I can tell you for a fact
Yeah.
that's not how things were.
I mean, maybe that's how your parents met. Roadside accidents.
Whoa. You know what? You may have just blown the lid off this.
Boom. That's just how everybody was meeting back then.
Quick, get Garrett's mom on the horn.
So the next scene is we see Ida rolling up to a secret farm, a secret garden, if you will. And it's the head patch. And Alex, would you like to tell us about the head patch?
So tucked away behind, is that in like a barn or is it outside? I couldn't tell.
It looks like a barn overgrown by like moss and like vines.
I couldn't tell either because sometimes it seems like it's outside.
Yeah, I think just whatever's convenient. It's
Yeah.
inside, it's outside.
It's an open top greenhouse.
Oh, it has to be inside because otherwise everyone would hear the terrible sound.
Okay, that's true. So in this weird little barn thing, we have all of these like low shrubbery growth things, and then intermingled with these are just human heads sticking out of the ground.
Well, there's bags over them. There's like burlap sacks of them. So we don't know what they are at first. We hear this going. Those were all fantastic noises, you guys.
Thanks. I practiced.
So beneath these burlap sacks, we have these heads sticking out of the ground, and they all have their vocal cords severed. So that's why they're making these horrible gurgling sounds. But basically, we find out that all of these tourists that they pluck off the road or whatever, they bury them in their secret garden to wait for the meat to get good, question mark, profit.
To ripen? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't understand what I guess they can't kill them all, right? They have too much meat, so they're keeping them alive.
Not according to Metallica's first album.
so that they can, have a steady supply of this stuff.
Yeah, so they have their humans buried in the ground stash, and then I don't know, feed them with a funnel? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they're
here.
feeding them like special nutrients and slop that basically make the meat like it basically they're curing the meat in a way to basically so when it's time to smoke it, it tastes better. Now, I had a question. Did you guys think the heads were separate from the bodies when you first saw this, or did you think they actually buried the whole person?
I have seen this movie before, and I don't remember what I thought the first time I saw it. So this time, I knew what was going on.
I mean, I didn't think about it at all. I guess I assumed there was a whole person because the heads were alive, and I didn't think this was that kind of movie.
I thought it was a Cabbage Patch Kids type situation where like a little baby head was just popping out of a thing of lettuce.
You know, Cabbage Patch Kids have whole bodies, right?
I know, but in the logo, it's just a head coming out of a little cabbage thing. So I thought it was one of those situations.
I do have a question about how Vincent, I mean, he's like 65, 70.
I peg him around there.
Yeah, is digging a 6-foot vertical hole.
Well, they had the driller. They had the whole thing. It was like a
So then
giant
it must
drill.
be outside because you can't get one of those in a barn unless it was a really big
I mean,
barn.
barns do have barn doors.
That's true. Yeah, okay.
Talking about the barn talk. Let's break it down for John.
But the barn didn't seem that big, or Bob would have seen it more clearly.
I think it was just a patch of land that was surrounded by a gate, very tall walls. Let's put it that way.
Very tall walls. I'll go with that. And like a roof. if
Maybe
you
there
will.
was some kind of canopy or covering above
Yeah.
it.
And then
I
two
think-
doors that swing out like a barn door.
I think
if
it
you
was
will.
a super huge barn, but
Okay.
yeah,
All right. So he had a little post hole, an
Yeah.
auger. There's the word.
an auger. There you go,
Yeah.
man. Nice.
Thanks.
I'm actually just really impressed by that. I didn't even know the name of that thing.
I used to have one before I sold one. Not a one that was on a cart, but like when a handheld one.
Oh, John,
It's to dig. I mean, so
tell us about.
welcome
tell us
to
about
fence to fence talk here. If you're trying to dig your own post holes in Texas, Central Texas, you are going to hit rock about a foot deep.
A foot if you're lucky.
Yeah.
shale,
So
limestone.
it was really fucking annoying
Granite.
to use the regular. So we just bought one because we had to do a lot of fence work, and an auger made it much easier.
Well, you know what? Let that be a lesson to all y'all who are about to make a fence.
And then we were able to flip the auger for basically what we paid for it. Turns out those things hold their value.
nice.
Yeah.
Good investment.
Yeah.
Back to Motel Hell. So we basically see the body patch. Yes, they are burying the whole bodies. They're cutting the vocal cords, as you said. At this point, though, I had no idea what these were for.
No, I did not either. Well, I mean, I kind of like.
I knew it was like something's going on
Yeah.
with the meat with them, but like I could not piece it together. I was like, I do not know how these go together.
But that was a cool scene. I'd never seen anything like that before. I'm surprised no other movie's stolen that yet.
It's very unpleasant. Like, I
Yeah.
think it's pretty effective
I agree.
in how icky it is.
And they're just so happy about it. They're so nonchalant and very, very, proud of what they're doing. So Ida and Vincent just seem to be like, we're doing the Lord's work here.
Well, yeah. So because they think that the world's too populated and it's running out of food, so that they are doing a good job by killing people and then turning them into food.
Wait, is that what that is? Is
Yeah.
that their
Yeah,
whole?
they talk about that toward the end. It's like a little
heard them-
worryingly close to some eugenicist talk. But
So yeah, they think that by killing a dozen people or so, they are solving world hunger.
So now we cut to a new scene with a van driving down the same road as the motorcycle before, and this van is full of a band called Ivan and the Terribles.
Yeah, and their song slaps.
No, I put Ivan and Terribles accurately named. This shit is terrible.
that's a great band name, though.
It's a great band name, but that song was terrible.
And it's got John Ratzenberger in it.
I've
As
had
the
it-
drummer.
I've had it up to here with you. I mean, I love those lyrics.
Oh, no, when I heard this, I was just like, this sounds like an actual song.
Yeah. So I wrote it slapped.
Well, that's great.
I'm also giving this song a vote for slappage.
Okay, that's 2 slaps against 1 no slap. I'm sorry, but as someone who controls the music industry, you're both wrong, and you will never hear this song again.
Slaps have it, from what I hear.
So there are bear traps in the road because Farmer Vincent has decided to set up bear traps to pop the tires of this van. Boom, tires get popped. They fly over the same, they gently roll over the same cliff slash hill slash,
Cliff!
damn it, that the motorcycle did, and that van rolls.
Yeah, big time. Which, all right, fine. Bands can be top heavy.
Yeah.
But also, this band gave me a new way to describe excellent weed that I'd never heard before. This red's too heavy.
this red's too heavy.
Yeah.
You know what? I caught that too, and I was like, all right, I'll give it to you.
All right, so that's
I'm going to make a gross joke and start saying that when I'm on my period.
Oh boy. Oh boy. GraveTalk podcast. Okay.
I love it. That's it.
No, it's pretty great. So we see them plant the bodies of, and this is where we actually see them planting using the auger for the first
Yeah,
time. We see
that's
them
right.
actually planting the band members into the ground and slashing the throats. And I gotta admit, that's pretty rowdy. Like when she slashes the throat when Ida goes for it, I was like, "Whoa, we're gonna actually show this."
Also, I feel like man, how many times did she fuck that up and accidentally kill someone? Because I feel like doing any kind of quick operation on someone's neck like that, there's a lot of crucial stuff you could hit in there.
I think she was a doctor or some kind of.
This lady was not a doctor.
She knew how to heal Terry. She's like, I'm gonna need some nightshade and some this and this.
She was probably like a vet tech.
Yeah.
Slash.
Do you think her
village
and Bob
witch.
dated at one point? That's why Bob's all pissed off at Vincent.
Well, that does make sense because we did miss a scene where Bob goes back and he finds.
Oh, yeah.
So before the hippies get killed, Bob returns. The return of Bob.
Hippies, they're heavy metal guys. They say they're heavy metal guys
All right, I'll give you that.
because the subtitles say heavy metal music playing.
I got to tell you what. Here's a spoiler about subtitles. It's just somebody like us watching the movie and typing whatever the hell they want.
They've got guidelines and rules, John. But yeah,
They have a professional code of ethics.
so after that, you're right. We just see with Bob.
So Bob comes back and he climbs over a wall. So I guess there is no roof because Bob climbs his way in there. Which then, how do these people not drown?
Or get super sunburned.
Yeah.
I guess they have the burlap sacks.
Lots of questions. But anyway, Bob gets in there and he sees all these heads and he's like, well, this is crazy. But turns out he wasn't as sneaky as he thought because Vincent was right behind him. And that is the end of poor Bob.
Yep, gets hit in the head with a shovel, and then that motherfucker gets buried like the rest.
Yeah.
So now he's a head in a field
Yeah.
or a head in a small garden. So,
Head in a barn.
there you go.
Where I think Bob and Ida were dating because Vincent, after they capture all the hippies, is like, Ida, I have a surprise for you. And I was like, oh, I love surprises. And then they go to bury the hippies and they're like, look, it's Bob. And Ida's like, Bob, how exciting to see you. She was very amped to see Bob.
Maybe.
So I think there's a love story
There's
there.
some history there
Yeah.
for sure.
She was amped to see. She didn't give a shit about anybody else, but she was happy to see Bob.
Okay. All right. Little head cannon for you.
There you go.
Thanks, John.
Head cannon.
Oh,
I'm cutting these mics. Hold on just a second, you guys. So we cut to a picnic where we have Vincent, Ida, Terry, and Bruce all sitting around eating meat, and Ida almost spills the beans on what they do to smoke the meat. She almost blows the cover of like, it's human, it's people.
Vincent fucking punches her in the stomach so hard.
Fucking nails
So
her, just like,
hard.
bam, and then the sound effect is like a thump. I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, he punched. And then Terry's like, I can't take this, and walks off. She's like, why did she punch him? He's like, oh, they're just joshing with each other. They're brother and sister. What can you do? Because this is where Bruce takes her out on a little fucking dinghy
Rowboat, yeah.
into the middle of this like little man-made like pond.
But before this has maybe my favorite line in the movie because they're like describing the fine history of smoking meats in this family and telling their hilarious family story about eating the family dog. Right?
Yeah.
And then Terry, in another line that sounds like two people wrote it without consulting with each other, turns to Vincent and is like, no wonder you're famous. How come I've never heard of you before?
Yeah, that was so weird.
Yeah, because they tell that story with a dog, and it's like, you know, like we cooked Grandma the dog, and she loved it.
Cook the dog! Cook your own dog! No child should be made to do that. Dogs should be raw and living.
Another great line is Grandma's message, right? That she imparts to her children. Meat's meat and man's got to eat as they're chowing down on dog.
You know, Grandma had it figured out.
Yeah, I do not think she did. Meat
don't
is
think-
not meat.
You don't think so?
No. But according to this movie, dog tastes like goat, but it's more stringy. Yeah.
Well, there you go. All I know is Terry is way too happy to live with a couple of strangers after her boyfriend just died and then go on a date.
Well, yeah, that's
All in the span of like 2 minutes.
super weird. Also, that she just found out these people are eating dog and was like, well, I'm going to continue to just stay here.
Well, dog's not, that wouldn't be too weird if I was out in like the country. I'm like, oh, y'all ate dog? Okay, that's just some country shit right
no,
there.
that is not country shit.
If
That's some
I found
country
out some
shit right there.
hillbillies had eaten a dog, I wouldn't be that surprised.
Yeah.
Would you stay with them, though?
No, I wouldn't be there to begin with.
To be fair, none of us are staying with an old creepy couple out of nowhere.
That's true.
So Bruce asked Terry out on a date, and he's like, well, I'll take you to the drive-in. She's like, okay.
For some reason, she agrees.
Poor decision making from T to B, top to bottom with Terry. They go to this lover's lane type place. There's a bunch of cars, and everyone's fucking and making out in these cars, and the cop turns on his lights. He's like, everybody get out of here. You gotta go. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And then one of the cars, for no reason, this naked woman and naked man get out and run away from their car. and he's like, get back in your car. And they're like, okay. And then they drive off. And I'm like, why did y'all get out of your car?
So we could see a naked person.
I mean, to be fair, this movie just wanted to have some tits in it.
There's like 30 minutes where I'm like, they're getting all their nudity quota in right here.
Well, the tubing scene, we'll talk about the tubing scene. But yeah, so everyone drives off and she's like, well, what was the point of that? And he's like, no, check this out. Gave her some binoculars. She can see the drive-in theater from where they are. And he patches in the audio from the drive-in theater to the police CB radio. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cute. But I'm like, just go to the fucking drive-in, dude.
No, it is not cute. You know how annoying it'd be to watch a movie through binoculars?
Do you know how cheap a drive-in probably was in 1980?
Yeah, the guy's
It has to be cheaper than a sampler pack of meat for $2.95.
Yeah. I mean,
It was a bad date, and she is in for it. She's like, this is wonderful. And I'm like, Terry, what has happened in your life?
Yeah, what kind of dates was Bo taking you on if this is a big step up for you?
To be fair, Bo didn't put her in the sidecar, so Bo's not a great guy.
Well, he was probably like, listen, Terry, the sidecar is very dangerous. We cannot have you in there.
Terry, sidecars for luggage.
Yeah.
She's like, well, then take it off. Don't tell me how to live my life, woman. So anyway, they watch a movie briefly, and then they hear some screaming because also taking place at the same time, a couple of ski prostitutes are driving back from the mountain.
Well, before then comes
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
all
the
right.
weirdest scene in the whole movie, and I think Bruce goes to make his move, and she's like, no, don't do that, Bruce. And then he just goes for it.
He gets real aggressive.
Yeah, like big time. I was like, oh shit, is there gonna be a rape scene in this movie? And then she hears over the CB radio, help me, somebody help me. And Bruce is like, all right, fuck, damn. And she's like, no, I didn't say that. And I was like, what are you doing?
She's giving mixed messages to Bruce.
It's a rapid tone shift.
But that whole help me, though, as I was trying to explain before John cut me off to talk about rape.
Well, okay, yeah, I guess you're right. It does.
Is basically there's two prostitutes coming back from like a ski weekend. They've got to be up in the upper, northwest or something like that.
It seems very warm. They do a lot of water activities.
The mountains can still have snow on them if other places are non-snowy. I don't know how far they were from the mountains.
So sometimes in Reno, sometimes the ski resorts will still have snow into like May or June.
Oh, okay.
Occasionally when it's pretty warm down in the valley.
I'm sold.
Maybe we're relocating this to northern Nevada
This
now.
is your Reno weather report. So the ski prostitutes, let me get through this, you guys. The ski prostitutes are talking about banging and making money, and they roll up on a couple of cow standees in the middle of the road, and one of the girls goes, those look fake. And one look at these, you're like, yeah, no shit, these look fake. These are like cartoon cows on fucking plywood.
You're the fakest fucking cows. They may as well put like a speech bubble that said moo, like eat more chicken.
Yes. The eyes are giant circles with a black dot as the pupil. I'm like, okay, I'm glad they figured this one out.
If I drove up on these in the middle of the night with one of my dumbass friends, we would probably be like, those look fake.
She's like, something looks strange with those cows. I don't know that they're 2D. Is that your first giveaway?
Maybe there's no third dimension with these living creatures.
They're not moving? Is that
So one of them gets out to move it, and then Vincent pops up behind one of the cows. It's hilarious, this scene. Pops up with a canister of like some kind of knockout gas.
Yeah.
And Ether's one of the girls
just pops this thing right on her face. I'm like, lady, back up.
She panicked. She was expecting 2D cow. She didn't expect a guy with a gas.
She forgot about dimensions.
Yeah.
She didn't realize that backing up was an option. She thought she could only move side to side.
So the other girl decides to drive off, and then as we cut back between the creepy rapey scene with Bruce, we hear the screaming. Then we cut back to Vincent chasing down this woman in her car and like ramming the back end of it. And does he run her off the road?
Well, she, in her great decision making, decides, I'm going to get off of this paved road and go to this weird side road.
Okay.
Which is unpaved and terrible. I don't know why she thought this was a good idea.
I'm going to assume that she also incurred a head injury while skiing.
Head injuries all around. Also, this random car with these two like ski hookers has a CB radio because she's picked up on the cops' CB frequency, and then they're like, "What's your location?" And she picks up a little like CB hand, like I don't know what they're called, the little handheld
microphone,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, "I'm 10 miles off," and I was like, "How the fuck do they have a CB radio? That's crazy."
I think CB was really popular like in the 70s.
You're gonna truck that convoy? Is that what you're telling
that's
me?
it. She's like, Sheriff, this is Rubber Ducky. I'm 10 miles east of wherever. She was real good about where she was, too.
I got a guy chasing me. He wants to put a bumper sticker on my car. I gotta go.
Eat more meat. It's strange.
I'm a vegan.
So now we cut back to one cool thing is during that ski hooker scene, we actually hear Wolfman Jack on the radio doing his show, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, so throughout the whole movie, he's doing like a religious like donation.
Well, he plays two roles. The Wolfman Jack thing is a reference to the Wolfman Jack radio show, which is a real thing that happened.
Yeah.
And so that was in the car.
A real thing that happened.
in the past.
And then, but the Wolfman Jack does come back as him playing one of the preachers on the TV, one of the televangelists. And I loved his televangelist moments because he's all like, "Look, y'all, I know you got money. Send it to me. I don't know if we're going to be on the air if you don't. Just, I know someone's got $1,000. Send it to me. And if someone else has got $1,000, send that to me too."
The only way I could keep asking you for money is if you send me money.
It was like his lines were great, and they're delivered with such like, I guess I got to do this now.
And it is weird at certain points in the movie, it'll just show you this like telethon for like 5 or 10 seconds. It's very strange.
I think it's just the televangelist channel. I think it comes default in all TVs in that area.
And they're kind of out in the sticks, so maybe they only pick up that one channel.
Yeah. But I mean, we also see that he's a pastor of a very local church at rural wherever. Do they do? I guess it's public access.
Yeah, he has just a public access televangelist show.
After he runs the hooker off the road, he, I guess, goes and buries him because we don't actually see that happen, but he buries him.
I thought she just ended up staying in the car where it sank into that swamp.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what happened.
She like a waste of good meat.
Well, they have her body. Like, he gets her out
In
because they're both buried.
The like most, this is probably one of the most misogynistic parts. The lady just faints. She's like driving, and then she's like, "I cannot handle this," and she just swoons. She's like, "My female constitution can't handle this chase."
Look, they saw 2 decals. Nothing makes sense anymore to them.
Head injury.
It's got to be it. So she just faints and crashes. Like,
and then we cut to back at the motel where Vincent is. He's out planting the prostitutes, I think.
Yeah.
And then they hear like the front buzzer. They're like, "Did you turn on the no vacancy sign?" And she's like, "Oops, I forgot." And he's like, "Okay, cool." So he runs back up to the front desk, comes out in his robe.
They're not actually prostitutes. They're like ski instructors.
No, they're hookers, dude. They're talking about how much money they made by sleeping with dudes. Like,
really?
She's like, "Remember that guy I slept with? Yeah, I didn't get much off of him. But blah, 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 blah. That ski instructor I
thought they were
slept with."
talking about how much money they made during ski season.
No, because she talks about they go up to ski season just to basically hook it up.
I am just a naive soul.
I also did not realize they were sex workers until this discussion.
Look, I can smell a hooker a mile away.
Was this from the closed captions and they write ski hookers on
No,
there?
I inferred that they were that because based off the way she's like, "Well, I made a bunch of money this season, blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "Well, I didn't, but remember that blonde ski instructor I slept with?" And he's just like, "Yeah." And he's like, "He didn't have nothing." And I was like, "Oh."
Wow.
So yeah, it was a side hustle, bro.
How much money do they think ski instructors make?
Yeah, that's a good point too. Are they renowned for being wealthy?
We should really divulge the podcast into that discussion right now.
Well, I would think the ski students would have more money than the instructors. Yeah.
Maybe
so-
that's why the other lady made so much more money than the one who was sleeping with the instructors.
Well, you don't share your tips though. I get it, right? She's got the ski
You
students
don't
on
share
lockdown.
the tips, you share the nips. Hey-oh, bam, 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 bam. I'll see myself out. So we cut back to the motel where Vincent is now trying to check in this couple who has showed up.
Best part of the movie.
Have a homemade map to best swingers locations. Motel Hello is evidently on the fucking map.
Hold on. If somebody told me that Motel Hello was a swinger place, I'd be like, yeah, that totally tracks.
I'm into it. So they're like, is this where the heat is? And he's like, "I could turn the heat up if you guys get cold." And they're like, yeah, turn the heat up. Ha, ha, ha. And then they think that Ida and Vincent are swingers too through miscommunication. Classic movie.
Sheriff Dewey also comes in and is like, did y'all hear about someone screaming on the CB? And he's like, oh yeah, it was just kids. So this is when I first was like, oh, okay, he must not be in on what's going on.
That's where I pieced it together too.
Yeah, Ida lies to him and he's like, I'm going to have to report this to the Federal Communications Commission. I was like, damn, okay.
Fucking Bruce was actually really funny in this. And then Terry walks in and she's like, I think I'm just going to go to my room. And then the swinger couple's like, ha, bring your daughter. And I was like, whoa, my dude. Like, it's one thing to invite a grown couple to like swing with you. It's another thing to say, bring your daughter with you. That, and she goes, she's not my daughter. And he's like, even better. Hey. You're just like, I don't know.
Yes, I should say so. That's a lot better.
Yeah.
I was like, it's better at that point. But he just says, bring your daughter. I was like, no, bro, that's the wrong thing to say. But look, anyway,
they came to party. Okay. So
they came to party indeed. And because we cut to his wife / girlfriend, whoever, in the room in a very early 80s kind of like sexy outfit, with a bullwhip, just whipping the hell out of the room, knocking over lamps, whipping the bedspreads, you name it, she's whipping it.
I guess this is what you can do in the 80s before you had to give a credit card for a security deposit, because she was just wrecking this fucking room.
Oh, yeah, and when they asked if they needed to register, Vincent's like, no, don't worry about it. So
Yeah.
Well,
they
Vincent,
have no means of
Vincent knew they were
tracking
going to kill him or
yeah,
bury
I know,
him.
but I'm just saying they didn't register, so they were just like, we can wreck this
Yeah.
room and they'll have no recourse.
I'm going to bullwhip the TV, the phone, like, fuck this room.
Yeah. And then out of nowhere, the husband comes out in a clear plastic skirt with a bra over a
leotard
leotard. And he's like, grease me up, woman.
and ballet slippers.
Oh, does he have ballet slippers?
And then he starts shaving
Yeah.
his chest. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, could you imagine having a leotard full of loose chest hair?
Well, it's an electric shaver. It's an electric shaver,
Yeah, but
so
it's
it's got a
still
little
gonna-
it's got a little like place that the hair gets caught inside of.
Yeah, I think he did his order wrong. Order of operations.
Oh
is
yeah,
all
no,
wrong
no,
there.
he's all fucked up with
then-
this.
and then he's
but
like-
to be fair, they are chaos incarnate. These two, so
That's true. And it's really important for him to get lubed up. He mentions that like 5 times.
Oh, yeah, he really wants to get greasy with it.
Yeah. It's a hit single right there. Get greasy with it.
That's the very awkward Easy E covered. Greasy does it. So I'm sorry, that was bad. So yeah, they're getting greased up. The wife is all horned up. He's all just like, he almost has like a Joker maniacal laugh to him at this point, but he's into it.
Big time.
Then Vincent and Ida walk in their normal civvies. And he's just like, they got rope and they're like, you're into bondage? Hell yeah. And they both jump on the bed. And what does the wife say? Is this dog style? And I was like, don't call it dog style. It's
Yeah.
doggy style.
Well, then Vincent goes, no, it's pig style.
No, he says hog style.
Hog style, yeah.
Hog style. And I was like, and she's like, do you have pigs? And I was like, stop asking these questions, you two. You are getting way off the rails
They didn't
here.
even decide on a safe word either. They just went right to it.
Oh, I think they have a standard. I think they have a set standard safe word.
Well, they need to share it out
Yeah.
because I feel unsafe.
The audience should feel unsafe at this point. So yeah, they bondage up and then they knock out the husband. And at this point, the wife is like, oh, wait a minute. What the hell? That doesn't smell like nitrous oxide or nitrous.
They met these people from a pamphlet. They've known them for 5 minutes and were game for getting tied up and doing laughing gas with them. All in the spit. Like, I mean,
I fail to see nothing wrong with this scene,
The swingers community is very trusting.
apparently, well,
but they do have safe words and they do share them.
yeah.
So it doesn't make sense now. It's all bullshit.
It was 1980. You know what? I get it. They didn't know about murder back then. So
Coming off the 70s with
Yeah.
like a giant rash of serial killers, no one knew.
a renowned murderless decade.
Yeah,
So,
that's the main thing that people know about the 70s. Safest decade in
Yeah.
history.
Manson turns to the camera. Yes. So, yeah. So they basically hogtie the swingers couple. They bury them. Boom. They're out of the picture. And one of my notes says like, this couple seems fun. I was like, and then it got really weird.
yeah. Also, at the end of the date between Bruce and Terry does go, I had a really great time.
Okay.
And I felt
Yes.
she's sending very clear signals.
You got
to
a
Bruce.
vibe from this, right?
Yes.
You got a vibe that she was into Bruce.
Yes, because it's
So did I.
important to know for what's about to come up here.
Yes.
In the next set of scenes.
So we can get into that scene. We can get to that real quick, but like right before that, we have the scene of tubing, where basically,
this next sequence.
Vincent the next morning tells Terry, like, "Hey, I'm going to teach you the art of smoking meat," and she's like,
I'd be honored.
"Yeah." She's so excited, that the torch is being passed, and then at that point, Ida's like, "Well, he told you this? Okay, well that's cool. I guess we'll do some tubing." And she's like, "What's tubing?" And she's like, "Tubing." And then we cut to them at the fucking little like man-made pond, going tubing. I thought it was going to be something to do with meat.
Nope. Yeah, I thought so too.
I thought that they were going to be like
tubing meat,
casing
and,
sausage.
casing
Yes,
sausages.
that is also what I thought. But no, they meant legitimately tubing.
Yeah, so we get a scene where Ida jumps in the pond with her inner tube, big plastic, inner tube. So does Terry. Terry is wearing a very thin white shirt, so this is just nips a pop in this whole scene. You could tell this. I feel like this scene was there just to have tits on screen.
What?
Yes.
You don't say.
Oh, look, camera angles don't lie. At this point, Ida pulls out a fucking razor blade, cuts her own tube, and be like, "I'm drowning." So Terry will come over and help her.
Yeah.
And then tries to drown Terry. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just cut Terry's tube?
Why wouldn't you just cut Terry?
Why does she want to kill Terry?
Because she's jealous.
She's jealous because Vincent wants to show her how to make meat. And so this is the whole like, well, I've filled this like role. There's
She's
competition
getting replaced.
now. Yes. She
Okay.
thinks she's getting replaced.
She's being usurped.
You slurped. So
Well, you come for the throne. Best not miss.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, Ida tries to drown Terry like violently, and then Vincent jumps in the water and saves Terry, and then we cut to the inside. Now this is the part that was really weird because
This is the part that was really weird.
Everything up to here was totally
no.
fine.
I
This is
feel
the
like
part
every
where-
scene we're like, this is the weirdest scene in the movie.
The other weirdest scene is there's like 3 minutes of splash fighting that Garrett cut out of this description.
Well, I didn't
that was
get
so
creepy with it,
boring.
so,
They
yeah.
were just splashing each other. I was like, why is this happening?
to show her fucking thin white shirt and her nipples. That was it. That was the only reason that scene existed.
It was. I was like, this movie is losing me, and it's about to continue to lose me. Nothing exciting happens for like the next 20 minutes.
Well, that's not true because we cut to now inside where he goes, "Ida, do you want to apologize?" And she's like, "I'll never be able to like live with myself if you don't forgive me." She goes, "I forgive." Terry goes, "I forgive you." And she goes, "Good. I'm gonna go get something to eat later." And at this point,
My
Vincent-
favorite part was when that scene opens. Ida is like kneeling and like has her hands spread. It's the weirdest position. I don't know what she was doing.
she was begging for forgiveness.
It was so strange.
But yeah, so Terry's in bed. They're both like on the side of the bed. She forgives Ida. Ida runs off, and then Vincent's all like, "I'm sorry about that. Don't worry though. We'll teach you how to make meat. You're very important to us." And at this point, for Vincent, this is a child. This is the next rung of his legacy. He's going to basically pass this on to his.
I don't know. I think Vincent was into it.
No.
Not-
because at this point, Terry leans forward topless and is like, "Kiss me," and he kisses her on the forehead like a kid, and then she's like, "No, not like that, like this," and then starts making out, and he goes, "No," and pushes her back down. He's like, "It's not like that."
Well, no. He says we should be married first.
Oh God, you're right. He
Yes.
says we should be married first.
So the objection is not the age gap.
Well, no, he gives her the fucking kiss on the forehead, so I thought it was like a kid
Well, because
thing.
I think he's trying to be chaste. Also, she takes his hand and like puts it on her boobs, and Vincent is like,
I wish it was that direct. God, ladies, come on, help us out here. We're dumb. Anyway.
well, yeah. Vincent is like, look, I want this, all of this. I'm on board,
Yeah.
but we need to get married.
From 0 to 100, he's like, "Yeah, I'm on board, but let's get married." And I was like, "Oh, she's gonna be like, no, I'm out." And then she's like, "Are you proposing to me?" And she seems stoked.
Yeah, but then she goes, I'd like to be alone right now. And I was like, what is happening?
She's gonna fucking masturbate, dude. She is horned up, and she knows she's not getting any. So she's like, Mama's gonna take care of this himself."
Okay, that because in the next scene they're married. So
No, close. The next scene. The next scene is he goes to meet Wolfman Jack at the church and is like, "I want to order a ceremony," and Wolfman Jack's like, "Okay, got you covered,
yeah.
bro."
So she says yes at some point in between. I guess apparently you're right. She probably did do a little.
She had to clear her head.
Yeah, and she's like, "I will marry you, Vincent, at most 2 weeks after my previous boyfriend was brutally murdered.
Again, way too weird. This chick has got problems. So yeah, she's stoked to be getting married. And then Vincent has a meeting with the preacher. And then the preacher goes and sees Sheriff Bruce sitting in a car reading a Hustler.
Yeah,
and we get a beautiful medium shot of the center spread. And kudos to Hustler, always delivering the goods. And then the preacher goes, "What is that there?" And he goes, "I confiscated it." And he's like, "I'll take that. I'll dispose of it properly." But you can tell 100% this guy's like free porno, dude.
Yeah, he's keeping it.
And so Wolfman Jack spills the beans. Is like, "Oh yeah, congratulations on your brother getting married." And he's like, "To who?" And he's like, "That blonde girl." And then Bruce is like, "What the fuck?" Drives off, speeds off.
He's like, the only possible explanation is that she is being held hostage and Vincent is going to murder her. Which, not too far from the truth.
Yeah, that's not such a wild assumption, although...
He says she was hypnotized.
Okay, that's a wild assumption.
Well, later on we see the hypnotized machines.
Yeah.
But was Bruce in on any of this?
I don't know. It's so hard to tell. The hypnotized machines was fucking weird.
We'll get to those in just a minute because I love that.
But I want to just like pull Terry aside and say, "Terry, can you tell me 5 things about Vincent before you marry him? Just tell me 5 facts about him."
Tell me his last name.
Yeah.
I love him. I love him. I love him. And I love him.
What's your future?
That was only 4.
And he's old.
Look, I'm concussed. I can't count.
But that's so weird, though. Literally, her boyfriend just got murdered, secretly buried. She has a concussion. She's staying with fucking people she doesn't know. She just met some weird ass swingers, Bruce.
Well, I don't think she's aware of the swingers.
No, she walked in. Remember, the swingers were like, "Ha ha, what's up, girlie? What's your name?" Remember, they like
But
kind
that
of
was in the lobby. So she
yeah,
just
but
thought
they laid
were
on pretty
visitors.
thick though. She's still like, "Ooh, what the hell?"
Terry's a lot of things, perceptive, probably not one of them.
That's a fair criticism.
You fucking think? So yes, now we cut to the head patch where we're going to see them harvest the band, Ivan and the Terribles, and they bring out the hypnotized machines because if they're going to have to kill people, they want it to be humane and as little pain as possible. So they hypnotize them and they're not feeling pain.
I guess.
It was so silly. It didn't make any sense. They just have like these spinning psychedelic mirrors, and he's like talking them through some psychedelic journey to Mars.
It's true. And I would venture to say...
And I thought they're aliens at that point. When we said Mars, I was like, oh, this is a whole fucking Rocky Horror shit thing.
That'd have been cool, but no. But also, I'm going to say that Hypnovision is even worse than Monster Vision. I did not need to see through the perspective of like what... I was like, this is ridiculous. What is this, like a kaleidoscope? Get out of here with this.
Flathead, you suffer from epileptic seizures.
I already had a headache when I was watching this scene. I'm just like, this is not what I signed up for.
You're gonna hypnotize me to be angry. You did it.
So, yeah, they hypnotize the heads. They put nooses around them. They drive the tractor, pop their necks, and then pull them out.
Weird way to kill someone.
I thought they were going to, like, fucking, like, Caddyshack golf them, you know, like...
Big shears, you know, you just...
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Or a scythe. You know,
A scythe?
A scythe. Like, there's so many options, but, you know, they have a system, and it seems to be working, so
Pull
who
a
am I to
Hannibal,
judge?
let the pigs get them.
Yeah, well, that's probably what they do with the, you know, the bones when
Well,
they're done.
but they need all the meats.
They don't need the head.
Listen.
Let the pigs have the heads.
Little cheek meat? No, that's some good stuff.
Yeah, cheeks are some of the best parts of an
Gross.
animal.
Ugh. Okay, so anyway, Bruce at this point peels up to the house while they're hypnotizing heads and runs in and is like, Terry, oh God, Terry. He basically is like, what's wrong with you? You can't marry Vincent.
She's taking a fucking bath, and he just busts into the...
Oh, he charges the door busting.
yeah.
Yeah, he just throws himself through the door.
And Terry's like, well, this is unusual, but I will be perfectly... What are you doing? Oh, you think I'm hypnotized? Okay, that's reasonable. Let me get up naked.
And then she goes, nope, in love with Vincent. And I was like, oh God, what is wrong with this woman?
But also, like, okay, if someone is hypnotized, can you talk them out of being hypnotized?
I think so.
Could Bruce talk someone out of being hypnotized?
No.
He probably accidentally hypnotized himself.
He gets hypnotized by talking to the hypnotized person.
It's contagious.
At this point, Ida is inside making more food because they're smoking the band at this point. But Ida comes in.
What was Ida making? Was that ketchup in a soap dispenser?
Yes. It was ketchup in a soap dispenser that she put on a piece of cold chicken leg. And then she had like a couple waffles with some whipped cream on it. I thought she was going to put whipped cream on the chicken leg, but no, it was...
Yeah, she's eating chicken and waffles. All right.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, the ketchup in a soap dispenser is a little strange, but the meal is weird for the time of night, but...
To be fair, at the bar by my house, sometimes in the bathroom when the actual soap dispenser's broken, they'll have like one of those squeezy ketchup bottles full of soap.
Okay, so it's like so you just make use of what they have. What they are frugal. They're trying to save the world, the environment.
A very green message in this movie.
Yeah. No, I mean, I hope they washed it very well, though. Imagine soapy ketchup.
And I will point out that during this time before Bruce runs back, he did some investigating and finds like all the cars buried in the lake. He finds the overturned motorcycle from Terry's accident, and he runs in. He's like, "I found evidence. You wouldn't believe what I found. There's cars in the lake."
Turns out 20 or 30 people have been murdered in my county, and I did not notice.
At this point, he thinks it might be Vincent, though.
But wouldn't any one of these murders have been reported at some point? This is the first time he's like, I should probably look around. And it takes him 5 minutes to crack the case
Vagabonds,
open.
drifters, and swingers. No one's looking for them.
Look, Ivan and the Terrible, we're about to have a hit single. So,
son of a bitch.
And swingers have to have lots of friends.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but swingers, they're like nomads. They come and go. You never know where they're going to be, what they're doing, except you know that it's kinky. So anyway, he tries to convince her, like, you got to get out of here. They're going to kill you or something's going to happen to you. And she's like, you have to leave. I'm getting married. And like, Ida then hears this, like Bruce trying to get it. Bruce walks out. Ida pushes him against the wall and knocks him out. It was the weakest fight. She just kind of like thrusts him against the wall and Bruce is down for the count.
That's his hypno trigger.
I just assumed he fainted like everyone else in this movie.
I just assume he has a latent head injury and the little jostle made him pass out.
So Bruce is concussed now.
Bruce concussed. She gets the gun because Terry's like on board for leaving. She's like, I guess I should leave at this point. So Ida gets the gun on her, takes her to the smokehouse where Vincent is. And she's like, she's trying to leave. I think she knows something's up. And Vincent's like, I'll convince her to stay. If she's willing to get married, why would she just up and leave so quick? If you're committed to that, you shouldn't be just like, oh, I'm out.
Well, Bruce did let her know a lot of facts about Vincent she was maybe unaware of, because he goes on a big spiel about how terrible Vincent is.
So what you're saying is maybe she should have taken more than like 45 minutes to think about a marriage proposal from a random couple?
And I'm just going to say it. Sorry, people. You probably shouldn't marry someone who's 30 years older than you.
Yeah.
It's just usually not going to work out.
Also, if someone is going to fall in love with you that quickly, they're probably also going to fall out of love with you equally quickly.
She's like a bird, man.
Yeah.
Welcome to Love Line.
You can't know that you want to marry someone in a day and a half.
That's not true. I knew I wanted to marry that ham sandwich the moment I saw it. So Vincent is basically trying to convince Terry to stay. He's like, it's about the meat. I really wanted to have you be part of this. And she's kind of like, I don't know, man. There's a lot of things have happened in the last 5 minutes. While this is going on, Bo has managed to free himself from the head patch. He has wiggled his way out of his hole and then frees the rest of the bodies and heads, all the zombies, if you will.
Yeah, I wrote, oh, good. Now we get a zombie movie.
Yep. And so now they're all shuffling and shambling towards, Motel Hello.
Making horrible gurgling noises all the way.
Oh, it's so rowdy.
Ooh, those sounds were like nails on chalkboard. It was a very good horror sound, very terrible sound in general.
And at this point, this is where we see Bo leading the pack of zombies back to the hotel. And this is where I first saw how old Bo was. And I was like, yo, Terry, what is going on? What is your weird situation you've got? You've got some daddy issues.
Yeah, it's definitely some daddy issues.
Yeah, at one point, one of my notes says when he does the marriage proposal, I was like, oh, she doesn't want a father. She wants a daddy. And I was like, it's getting real.
Terry's a very frustrating character. The day before she agrees to marry Vincent, she is thanking Bruce for the great date.
Yeah. Again, and Bruce is pissed. And to be fair, Bruce had some weird expectations too.
Terry just loves the last person that she talked to.
Listen, all men are the same to her. They're just completely interchangeable. She doesn't really understand which one she's interacting with.
Thinks there's just one man on Earth, and that's it.
Vincent's like back in the slaughterhouse. He's like, what do you think? Are you going to stay here? Terry spits in his face. And did you guys see how much spit she had in her mouth?
She hawked a fucking loogie.
It wasn't a loogie. It was like a mouthful of water. It was just like, like it's like one of those spitting fish, man. So it was so crazy. I was like, I saw that and I paused it and I was like, no way. I rewound it and I was like, that is a ton of spit. She must have been saving that up since the house.
The whole time he was talking, she's like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. And he's done.
She's thinking of chicken and pie to get all salivated.
Oh, no, they hypnotized her into thinking about a lemon, so she salivated a lot.
So at this point, Ida goes back to the house after dropping off Terry. So Terry and Vincent doing their little convo. Ida goes back, sees the zombies. She goes, all right, let's go. And I was like, are you dying to fight these things?
She was spoiling for a fight. And I got to say, she really holds her own because it's like 8-on-1 and she takes like 4 of them down.
It's not until like there's like 4 of them on her at one time that she actually like have not a chance of winning.
Ida loves a good fight.
Yeah, she's a jujitsu master.
Clearly.
Did she get eaten? Is that what we're supposed to believe happened, or they just kill her, or what? Because I don't think we see Ida after. That's the last time we see Ida.
My assumption was not that they ate her because these aren't truly zombies.
Yeah, I just
They're
assumed they
people who
killed
can't
her.
Talk.
Okay, just rage kill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. So then we cut back to Bruce, who now wakes up inside, and he's like, oh no, where's Terry? Oh, they're probably out in the slaughterhouse. I got to go out there. So as he's trying to work his way out there, Bo climbs the top of the barn or slaughterhouse, jumps through the glass window, and lands on the ground. At this point, Terry's like, that's Bo. Oh my God, what's happened? Okay, this is all true.
Oh no.
I love you again, Bo.
Bo no smoke meats. That's all I'm saying. So at this point, she's like, oh, that's terrible. Vincent kills him with a chainsaw. At this point, Bruce busts in, picks up a chainsaw of his own. I'm messing up a little bit of the detail here, but more or
general
less, you
gist.
I
get
mean,
what
we
happened.
missed the whole part where Terry gets strapped to the conveyor belt moving toward the blade.
Oh, that is
right?
important. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's like, if you're not going to cooperate, I guess I'm just going to have to like get rid of you and start fresh.
Terry's like, do you expect me to marry you? And Vincent's like, I expect you to die.
Ah, Mrs. Terry, there's nothing you have that I cannot smoke. Yeah, she's on the conveyor belt. And then so Bo picks up a chainsaw.
And
Vincent's
move over,
gotta-
Mandy, because we get the OG chainsaw
This is
fight
the,
here.
The original, yes.
It's pretty good.
And at this point, Vincent pops up with a pig head. He's
Yeah.
got a giant pig head mask.
I mean, from just a purely fight logistical point of view, why would you want to limit your vision like that?
Well, let's also look at it from the opposite side there, John. If you see how thick that pig head is, it did save his bacon a couple times when the chainsaw would have...
His bacon, you say?
No, I know what I said. I said it, motherfuckers. I know.
Intended.
Ziggy piggy, ziggy piggy, ziggy piggy.
So maybe it's like a helmet. It's a meat helmet, if you will.
I dig it now. Also, that has got to be the biggest pig that's ever lived.
Huge pig.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know if my head would fit inside a pig's skull.
John, what do you think?
I got a pretty big head.
No, I don't. I mean, look,
I think it fit.
I've seen pigs. Their heads aren't as big as you would think.
But a big hog, she get a hog
Maybe
head on
if
her
you
head.
went all the way down to the pig shoulders. If we're talking pig head and neck,
Okay, all right. A couple
But-
straps just to hold it in place too.
yeah.
All right. I'm into it.
I mean, there's some logistical questions about this pig head, but you're right. It does save his life. So.
Yes, it does. So, it was a good choice. It was an impractical choice, but a good choice.
How heavy must that fucking pig head
Fucking
be?
What does
super
it
heavy.
smell like on the inside?
Remember Gladiator, the movie Gladiator, with
Yeah.
the guy who has a giant bullhead helmet thing?
That thing looks like it smells terrible.
Oh, it's all rotted and stuff.
Yeah.
That thing had to weigh like at least 50 pounds.
Yeah.
It was huge.
So, I mean, props for Vincent. Some great core strength. He's able to keep himself very straight with that.
Well,
thing.
he's a farmer, man. He's always active.
That's true. He's probably
know?
got 8-pack under there.
I
got
still
ripped
want to
neck
know
muscles.
how they ended up on the swingers map, the hand-drawn swingers
Oh,
map.
I think they did that on purpose
Yeah.
to lure victims.
I agree.
You think they did that?
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, at first they were surprised, but then she's like, "Oh, we didn't think we'd be in this issue." I think they did it, 100% to lure people to their.
Wow. So you think they're that is some deep shit.
Well, if you think from their twisted perspective, they're probably like, swingers are immoral people, so no one will miss them.
Yeah.
Well, that's just a blatant misconception.
I said from their twisted perspective. This isn't my twisted perspective.
Also, let's call back to earlier in the movie where Ida and Vincent are in the car driving. He's like, I really enjoy the traps. They give me a chance to be artistic and really express myself. And Ida's like, I love that. And like, so maybe they did make a swingers map too as another trap.
Yeah.
Man, he is just all this
He's a real
guy's
trap king.
He's got
Take up painting. Like, learn an instrument. There's better ways to be artistic.
run for public office. Evidently, anyone can get elected.
Yeah, Bob got elected, so
Fucking Bob. So at this point, chainsaw fight. It's glorious. It's not really glorious. It's really basic and kind of dumb, but like it's really fun to watch.
So Bruce gets he chainsaws Vincent, I don't know, 2/3 of the way through his body. Vincent collapses and he goes to save Terry.
Well, let's point out he goes to save Terry after Terry has to yell at him like 17 times to do it. Like, I'm going to die, you idiot. And he's like, oh yeah.
I'm surprised that Terry had the wherewithal to know she was in peril.
That's true.
Well, she looked up. Oh, I see what you're saying with the head injury.
Yeah,
Got
it's
it.
probably, this is a fun ride.
She's like, I'm going to marry this saw. So, yes. But it's funny when Bruce swings in on the meat hook.
Yes,
like
I love that.
Tarzan. I was like, oh boy, come on,
I
man.
took a note about that too.
I also loved in this scene the hanging gutted human torsos in the slaughterhouse because they were the most ridiculous Spirit Halloween looking props.
Look, they only had $3 million. Okay?
They were very enjoyable for me. I mean, it looked like something that the Mythbusters threw together to test something.
Ballistic gel.
Jamie Henneman pops up and is like, all right, that works.
You can swing from a meat hook and save somebody. Here's what's busted, that you can be chainsawed pretty much to your spine and be like, I still have 20 minutes of conversation left in me. So Terry and Bruce go back.
Well, you were talking about how he got chainsaw almost to his spine. I don't think it was that far in, but it was enough to where your organs are sliced open, your stomach, your intestines are open. You're bleeding to death at this point.
It was enough where the chainsaw could be supported by his hip bone.
The blade was almost all the way inside of him.
I feel like at that point, there's no real hope for you.
With abs of steel, though. That's what we're not accounting for.
Oh, yeah. Farmer core.
Yeah. So,
Vincent's like 86% muscle, 2% blood, and the rest just
Sinew.
sass.
art. So Bruce and Terry walk back, and Vincent had managed to seat himself up, and he's given us his last words, which is the best joke in the movie, because he's like, and I have one secret. I did use preservatives. And I literally laughed out loud at that.
Because when he's talking about his meat at the very beginning with the sampler back, he's like, no preservatives, no additives. This is pure meat. And I'm sorry. Say something better on your deathbed.
Oh, that was perfect.
I mean, it was pretty funny, but like, never waste that opportunity to just say something wild.
The toppings contain potassium benzoate.
Oh boy.
I think that's the end, right?
That is pretty much the end, because that happens, and then we freeze frame the shot and then roll the credits over
Yeah.
that. And then we get a pretty weird song.
No, they walk out, right?
Oh,
And
you're right.
they're like, I would burn this place down if it were mine. Then they blow up.
Terry says that he's like, well, I guess the hotel's mine. No, because before he dies, he gives the motel to Bruce, and then he's like, well, I don't know what to do with this, and she's like, I'd burn it down. I was like, the only sensible thing Terry said this whole fucking movie.
0 to 100. That's Terry, man.
And then they end up going to the secret garden.
Yeah, and
where they see Ida, who is buried upside down in the human patch.
Yeah.
Just feet's a kicking. She's got a little, just kicking away. And
Do you breathe if you're buried upside down?
No, but that's why she died. She was kicking, and they're like, oh no, and then she goes, and her feet fall, and then she kicks up again, and goes, and then dies once again. And I was like, oh, that's cute. But also, fucking these zombie people, like, they should have patched her. They should have put her in the patch normal with her head up, and then just
left her there.
Yeah. Done
Maybe
something.
they're zombie brained. So
yeah, what happened to all of them?
they went to go eat the town.
They went to that ski resort to make some money.
Yeah.
So
have you ever seen Night of the Living Dead?
oh boy, this is the prequel movie.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so Bruce, showing how ineffectual he is like, you know what? I'm just gonna blow up the and hello.
I don't think he did.
No,
I
I
think
think that was just the movie.
I think the movie was insinuating that that caught on fire and burned down the hotel or the motel.
Okay.
So the motel was going to burn down anyway because their
Yes.
sign shorted out.
Yes. Well, that O has been flickering the whole time, so that's why I kind of said Motel Hell
Oh.
instead of hello.
Yeah. And then it freeze phrases on the Motel Hell, and then we get the credits.
Yeah, and we get the credits in not a great 80s ending rock song, but it's par for the course, and I love those shitty rock songs that play during 80s
Should have
horror movie
used
credits.
Ivan's song.
No, they should not have used. Oh my god!
In fact, it would have been. I've had it up to here with you. He's mad at Vincent. I mean, it would have tied this whole movie
Yeah,
together.
talking about a
they're all
woman.
buried up to here.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
See,
Okay, let's get Mark in. Cover band.
the GraveTalk crew needs to rewrite all movies. That is what I'm learning here.
Do you have that kind of time, John?
I mean, for what they will be end up paying us, yeah, I can make the time.
They'll pay us in smoked meats.
That's the only currency I acknowledge.
Yeah, that's what I get paid right now. What else am I supposed to get paid in?
So other than Bruce being a terrible sheriff, Terry exhibiting an entire history of poor decision making and people's love of smoked meats, is there anything else we missed in this movie that we need to talk about?
Oh no.
How'd they go? Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, Rob.
Sorry, that was the Holy Spirit. I was coming through. Push it back down. No, that was
Just tamp that down and moving on.
no. I mean, 1980 seemed very long ago in this movie.
It did feel like this was a 70s movie.
Yeah,
I mean, it probably was filmed in the 70s.
That's true.
Very likely. Very
I was just like, I'm never really that happy that I'm alive in 2022, but this is one of them.
Well, let me read some of the taglines on the way out here real quick.
Oh yeah.
You might just die laughing.
No.
Checking in is easy. Checking out is hell. By day, they ran a motel. By night, they ran amok.
Okay, that's my favorite one.
Banned in 15 countries, the horror picture that tops them all.
Are these countries like former Soviet states that don't
Yeah.
exist anymore?
It takes all kinds of critters to make Farmer Vincent fritters.
They do say that in the movie at one
Yeah.
point.
Visit this tasty meeting place, spelled MEAT, if you dare.
Okay, so they spent a lot of money on coming up with taglines.
Yeah.
Like, why do they have so many?
And the last but not least, meat's meat and a man's got to eat.
Also, do they not know what a fritter is? Come on.
I don't think fritter's made of meat, is it?
I think you could make a fritter. No, you could make a fritter out of meat, but a fritter has to be fried.
Yeah, not smoked. You're not smoking them.
Yeah, this movie's all over the place. So that was Motel Hell from 1980. I would recommend it. I had fun with it. It's definitely it's crappy enough in the fact that the characters just make nonstop terrible decisions that I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I would agree. I would recommend it. I mean, especially once I learned it was a comedy, I was like, okay, I get it. This is like a bad kind of. It's also like, trying to pick apart like Airplane or something, right? Like, I get it. They're meant to be. It's just a poorly done satire, but I get what they were going for. But it's a fun movie.
Kind of like the movie Tourist Trap. Remember that one?
No.
Okay, that's a real deep cut, but that's kind of like along the same veins as this.
But it was a fun movie, and except for a little bit in the middle where like, go get some popcorn or something, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it drags in the middle a little, but overall, it is strange enough to keep you engaged for all, hour and 40 minutes of it. It's not super long, but it's definitely a wild ride. So, yeah, recommend it.
Well, that's 3 recommendations. Mark, we hope you watched it. Feel free to pop on your Letterboxd and let us know what you thought of it. Thanks for coming to the GraveTalk podcast. Alex, always a pleasure. John,
Never a pleasure.
never a pleasure, but love you, man. All right. Get you guys next time.